All right. Listen, everything looks like it's working fine. Make sure I've got 2 cameras, I've got 2 microphones. I can hear myself a little bit in that microphone, but that won't make a difference. Beautiful. All right, we'll give this a crack. I'll sit over here so that way it's easy to chat with you, but then we have to talk loud enough that both of us can hear the other one, which means these will be just fine.
Yeah, yeah. Some people got a lot of diction in their voice, and other people, their voices don't carry, don't they?
No, not at all. So if you can't hear me at all, you just let me know to speak up.
Yeah.
So, beautiful. Sweet. So, I'll get just a bit of a rundown. So
when you want me to answer the question, you want some backfill as well, or just the answer to the question?
Whatever's you. So like whatever's the most genuine you. If you want to provide a bit of backfill, like so if you get a point where you're like,
well, you won't understand a lot without.
Yeah, it's just like if I can't get it without a bit of context, give me context. So, but like so Denis, what's your middle name, Denis? It's Denis, isn't it? It's like shit. Yeah. Denis. Yeah. Do you have a middle name or you don't get
Denis Lawrence Freckleton. Yeah.
Yep, Freckleton. Born 1939.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so, any siblings growing up or any siblings at all?
Yeah. You're caught.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah. I'll just let that go. Yeah. So we're underway.
You're underway. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just get some general background.
I had 4 boys.
Yep. Yeah. So you're 4 boys. But did you have any brothers or sisters growing up?
Yes. When we were born, there was 3. I had Eddie, but he died when he was 3 years old.
3 years old. Okay. Yeah.
And then there was me.
Yep.
And then there was brother Kevin.
Kevin's younger brother. Yeah.
He's younger than me, 3 years younger than me.
Okay. Kevin. Yeah.
He's already passed away already. He had liver cancer.
Oh shit.
He didn't drink.
That's typical, isn't it? No drinking gets liver cancer. Yeah. So Kevin, how long ago, Kevin?
5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's still fresh in the context. So.
Oh yeah.
So mum and dad, what's like that? Obviously, Kevin's, but mum and dad's just names first.
Yeah, Ronald Lawrence.
Ronald Lawrence. Yeah.
He had a double barrel name actually. Ronald Lawrence Mackenzie Freckleton. That was his name.
Freckleton. Okay. Yeah.
Because the Scottish origin there from Mackenzie, and it come from Scotland, and they used to name the clan by having the Mackenzie. You knew which clan that they come from. So,
no, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
Freckleton's a place in England, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. Just near the border of Scotland.
It's on the border.
Yeah, nice. So is Freckleton regarding location? Like, does that sort of denote location, or does the Mackenzie Freckleton more mean 2 mobs that have been joined?
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes two mobs that have been joined.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Yeah. I noticed like some things like Smith and stuff like that refer to a occupation.
Yeah.
So whereas Mackenzie, I think that's clan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So Ronald Mackenzie Freckleton.
Yeah.
And then mum's first.
My mum's side.
Yeah.
Well, I never met my grandfather.
Okay.
He was killed in the mine accident in Broken Hill. We come from Broken Hill. I was born in Broken Hill.
Born in Broken Hill.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so he was killed in the mine. So I only knew Grandma Carthew. Carthew was her name.
Carthew.
Yeah.
T-H-E-U.
C-H-E-W.
H-E-W. Oh, yeah.
And so I only knew, and she was a widow all the life that I knew her. And a bit of a story there. My dad was a Catholic.
Okay.
And he married a Methodist.
Oh, that would have been...
That's bad news then.
Would have been a bit of a...
He was disowned from the clan virtually.
Okay,
For many years. Many years. I might have been 10 before I ever got to meet my grandfather.
Okay.
Because they didn't talk to each other, and he was shunned. But in later years, his parents come to accept the fact that the wife he married wasn't too bad after all.
Yeah, she was all right.
Yeah. So
wait, sorry. She was a Methodist, or he was a Methodist?
She was a Methodist.
She was a Methodist. Yeah, Catholic to Methodist. And Catholic Church was...
He was a choir boy in the Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah. So you had...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still.
Yeah.
You hear some of that still happening today with some of like the offshoots.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's especially with what do you got? Things like Jehovah's Witnesses and that
Yeah,
sort of stuff. You feel
yeah.
like there's a bit of a shunning if it doesn't.
Well,
Yeah.
I think religion's created more hassles in the world than any other single source that I can think of.
It's a yeah.
You know, anywhere there's a strife or unrest.
I'd probably say it's definitely contributed to the most deaths in the world.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Over time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
doesn't matter which one you go by as well. Like
Yeah.
you got to think Persians and Islam and Arabic and all that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff, and then Jews, the Christian Crusades.
Yeah.
Crusades.
Well,
would've-
right back in biblical times, isn't it?
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
way back. It didn't
Yeah.
matter which one. If you didn't believe in the right one, you were taken down.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It just
Yeah.
depended on which mob was in control at the
Yeah.
time. So
Even now in the Quran it says we're going to kill the infidel.
yeah, well that's it. Yeah, it's
And you might go and see an Arab doctor and I'm an infidel.
it's it's mental. I think like it's hard because I see those things now that a lack of religion seems to have a lot of impact on people's ability to know right from wrong. You know, like kids growing up, I see
Yeah.
them they don't tend to know. They're getting their morals from Disney movies
Yeah.
rather than having, you know, like some Bible stories and stuff like
Yeah.
that, just to go, okay, how do you figure it out? So people are having to figure it out more.
Yeah.
But it's sort of a two-part thing. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It's like, it's good because you've got a whole bunch from around and there's less murder and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's bad because kids don't get a story to run off
I
as
think
early.
the TV's got a lot to do with the stuff on the TV. Like at night time,
Yeah.
if I finish my day and have a drink, and I want to watch something happy and
Like a comedy or
enjoyable or
something.
comedy,
Yeah.
music, and I get kill them deads and shoot them and murders and
Yeah.
rapes and you don't want to go to bed sleep with stuff on your head like that.
No,
you know?
no.
Me?
Well, it's all drama based now. Like it's like shock and awe. Like they need to hit you with something to keep your attention.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be.
Yeah,
You've got to
shock
be
horror.
upset by it.
Yeah.
News is shocking for that.
Yeah.
News will only just give you all the crap stuff, and then they give you a little fluff story at the end just to make you happy before you leave. So nice. All right. So born in Broken Hill, grew up in Broken Hill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I left Broken Hill when I was 13.
13.
My old man was a miner and he had a few dramas in the mine, big accidents there. That, he was sent down, he was a shift boss, and he was sent down on one particular episode I can remember. He was sent down as 4 of his mates got blown up in an explosion, and he was a man on duty, so the management didn't give a bugger. They just sent him down with a bag, and he had to pick up. Them days you had to, if you left an important part of your body in the mine had to pay you for the rest of your life. Well, you paid the widow for the rest of the life. So if I couldn't find your heart or your torso was completely gone, you were deemed by the unions to be still underground.
Okay, so you get paid.
They had to go and get all your body parts. If you lost a leg, anyway, that affected the old man mentally in a way, you know.
That's traumatic. The way we look at that now, that's trauma. That's,
Exactly. They call it mental health, I think, nowadays. But you know,
that's
then they say, "Suck it up, boy." You know,
and that's what it was. It's just like,
Anyway, it got to him, and so he decided. He was a good golfer too, and he used to come to Mildura quite often to play golf.
Okay.
And he must have got talking, and he decided he'd buy a vineyard.
Okay.
So he went and bought a vineyard, but because he was a union man through and through, and because he union worked from 8 till 5 days a week. And that his culture, I guess, and the fact he knew nothing about growing grapes.
Yeah, fair enough.
And he had 5 years of rain on the crop, which he lost the crop. So he virtually went broke.
Okay. Makes sense.
You know, and that's when I was. I left school at 14. That's why I left school at 14. Come home to help on the farm because
family needed you to work to make the money back.
Yeah, which he couldn't afford to employ anybody, but it's too much work for one man.
Okay.
So I come home for that. So I worked 7 years without pay. From the time I was 21, from 14 till I was 21.
Okay, yeah.
And I used to work weekends for other people. I'd work on home farm, say, from Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday I would go and work for other growers.
Yeah. And you pay from them.
You'll get me pay from my pocket money from them.
Yep.
Yeah, and in that way too, I learnt a lot. Like I was an apprentice to them virtually.
Yeah.
Where my old man come in cold, knew nothing.
Yeah.
I'd come home from their block and I'd say, hey, this is what you got to do. This is how you go to do it, you know. And anyway, he went broke, and the banks were going to sell him up. So I went to the bank, and I had no money at all. And I went to the bank and I told them the story, and they said they wouldn't happen today. They said, well, listen, go and get 3 references and a plan how you're going to change it and bring it back to me, says the bank manager.
Okay.
This is the bank manager of the Commonwealth Bank.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did that.
Makes sense.
And I had the 3 references from the 3 growers that I'd worked for.
Yep.
And I took it into the thing, and they said, righto. And they give me $76,000, would you believe?
76 grand. Wait, 76 grand in 1953?
Yeah, 53, 54.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money now, like to get 76 grand, but 76 grand then, that's like buying property.
Yeah.
That's buying bulk property.
I used to lay awake at night and in cold sweats, you know.
Yeah.
But I was lucky in lots of ways. I worked out, I think it was going to take me 20 years to pay off the loan, you know. That's how long it would have took me. And but I paid it off in 5. The circumstances changed, like the price of fruit doubled.
Yeah. So you're getting more back.
The Poms joined the European Common Market.
Okay.
Well, 6 or 7 years of top crops, beautiful crops.
Okay.
Weather was perfect.
Okay.
Everything sort of went, my way. You know.
Favour.
Yeah.
So this was at 14 or 15 that you did that, or was it when you were?
I was 21 by then.
Yeah.
So
I was
you
married
were 21
when you were doing. Okay.
Yeah, I was married. Yeah.
Okay. So you were doing the you got your loan at 21. Or you got your loan at?
No, I'd be probably 22 before I got my loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 22 when you got your loan. So that was in the 60s? 1930s.
I was only had the loan a short time before, and I just got out of debt before the high interest rates come, in the 80s. We were paying 18% interest.
Okay, yeah.
In the 80s. I might have some of them dates a little bit
No, that's
wrong,
fine,
but
I've got a general...
Yeah. And then I met Lorna, and then we got married. I got my first car picking peas and beans. Lorna and myself.
Yeah.
Both of us went out picking peas and beans.
So how old were you when you met Lorna?
I just had my licence, 18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
nice.
we went together for 3 years.
Yeah.
And
then got married at 21.
Yeah, got married at 21, and she was 19. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. A couple of years difference. That's pretty standard. So, how'd you meet Lorna? Just work, because you'd be working flat out at 19.
Yeah, I used to go to the pictures though on Saturday nights. I go to the pictures.
Okay.
And I caught the bus. The bus used to go from in front of our house in 11th Street. We used to live. You know where the old block was?
Yeah. So 11th and
Ron's
past Jinkum. So between Jinkum and Dyer? No, not Dyer.
Jinkum and Ballar.
Ballar, yeah. That little block at the back there. So past Ron's around the corner, and then down a bit. Chrissy's walked me there a few times.
Oh, did
so
you?
We've sort of walked up. Ballar's on the left, and then it's further up on the right.
Yeah.
But then it's sort of where you turn on the left of the start of the S bend. It's opposite that.
I've got an aerial photo up there actually. Yeah, I can show you where the block was. And what I bought off when I bought the old man out, it was only 20 acres, but I finished up with 50 acres because we bought the neighbour up, and the next time we bought the next neighbour up, and so on.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a exponential.
As they sold out, I got old. Yeah. So that was all joined on. Yeah.
That's a lot of land, 50 acres. That's what, 25 years old or something like that, or is that?
Well, that accumulated over a period of time. I bought the old man had 20 acres, then I bought 10 acres when I bought his. Then about 3 years later, because I was doing so well, like the income was coming in pretty good. The bank loved me, so
Well, that's it. And so the plan that you had to give the bank, like, I know it's like a hypothetical, but so you got 3 references. This is something that, like you said, it would never happen now.
No.
But you got...
You go and get a bank loan now. Like they loaned me the old. What they really did, when I looked at it a long time, they let me take over the old man's debt. They didn't give me any money as cash, because they foreclosed on the old man.
Okay, so
they just transferred the ownership from the old man to me.
Okay, yeah. So you're basically saying I'm buying out the old man, but I'm taking on all the debt because I've got nothing to give you to start with.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So in real terms,
yeah,
they took it off the old man and they give it to me. So they're giving me.
Foreclosure had happened.
His debt load was £76,000.
So it was a convenience for him. Oh, that's right, pounds as well.
Yeah,
it would have been. It was before. Was it 61 that they changed that over? No, So £76,000.
Yeah, I think it was pounds. I don't remember the date. 66.
66. That's when they changed over to.
Oh, it might not have been. It might have been just out. I can't remember that, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Geez, that's
it was a huge amount of money.
Yeah, it's a massive amount of money.
Yeah.
So because they'd foreclosed him, it was a convenience thing for them by the sound of it. It's just like, we've got his son here who's willing to take it all on, or we've got to foreclose and then try and repossess the land and sell that off to other people. It's like, why not just transfer it from A to B?
Yeah. I thought they were God at the time, but when I look back at it in later years, I thought, well, that was a clever move on their part,
It's quick and easy, but like you're right, they wouldn't be able to get that by now. They'd have to open it up to everybody, or they'd have to come and take it. There's the whole. There'd be some sort of business issue.
So Lorna and I picked peas and beans, oranges. This is before we married.
Okay. Yeah.
And we bought a Chev 4 car, the first car we had, an old Chev 4.
A Chev 4.
1928 model. You wouldn't even see one. You have to go to a museum now.
Yeah, 28 model. It's not one of those crank start ones, no.
Well, it did have a crank handle, but I never used it.
Yeah. That's cool.
So we painted that and we totted around in that for a long time and kept doing the same thing. And on my honeymoon, I think I had a 1928 model Rugby. It was called a Rugby motor car.
A Rugby?
Yeah, Rugby. Okay. 1928 model. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to search that up when I get home. I'm gonna have to look 1928 Rugby. That sounds just because
I look through the archives, I might have some photos. I don't know.
I grew up over New South, and because rugby's so big over there compared to Aussie rules. Yeah, that's all I grew up. So a car called a Rugby just piques my interest a bit. So it was
pretty. It was old at the time. Everybody else driving more modern motor cars. And
what would have been 50s, 60s? Like it would have been.
We got married in 60.
Yeah.
And I had the Rugby then. We got married in 1960.
So late 50s, you had a 1928 car. So it was nearly 30 years old.
And we went to Burma. I remember we went to Burma on our honeymoon, and it was a 2-story hotel.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And my Rugby's parked out the front, and next morning I went past the window and there's a group of people all standing around my car, and I thought, oh Christ, somebody's crashed into my car. So I run down there and there's a heap of people, and they think it's an antique.
Oh, like a model,
They're all walking around kicking the tyres and shaking it, and had wooden spokes on the wheels,
serious?
And
I need to look. I need to see one of these things. I'm going home to have a look at one of those. Wooden spokes.
Yeah.
Jeez,
and
sounds,
and anyway, then I was a bit embarrassed. I didn't want to tell them it was me modern motor car,
it's like, that's me daily
so
drive.
I made out a collector's item,
That's you take that to a show these days. It's like, it's the equivalent of having a VN Commodore now. It's just like, it's more than 30, 40 years old now. So
it went along all right. It done the job,
Well, that's it. It does the job. So how old were you before you had, who's your oldest of the 4 boys?
Peter. He was born in 60. There's 14 years actually between Peter and Paul.
Peter and Paul, okay,
So I was on the kindergarten committee for 14 bloody years.
That would have been a fun reintroduction to it. Just be like, we got the next one coming. So Peter was when you were 20.
we got a flat first when we got married.
Yeah.
We didn't have a house. We just had a 2-room flat with an outside bathroom.
Okay.
And we
so
lived,
this wasn't out on 11th where you...
yeah, across the road from Ron's place.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Straight
yeah.
across the road from there.
Yeah. On Jinkum
11th
or
Street.
on 11th?
On
over
11th.
near where McDougall's is? Over that way?
Yes, on that side
Yeah,
of the road,
yeah.
but halfway down the road.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Directly opposite Ronald's first, when Ronald bought the house off Stephen,
Yep.
where Chrissy showed the house on
Oh, yeah.
11th Street.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Stephen bought the house. I give Stephen the land to build his house there, and he built his house, and he sold the house to Ron.
Okay.
And then
That makes
directly across the road, because I just to walk across the road to go to work, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just got to go all the way to work on a Saturday. Yeah.
So we had when Pete was born there, we lived there for 3 years until I saved enough money I went and bought a house off McDougall's place, old McDougall's house.
Yeah.
That's where Ron is now.
Oh, okay. So that house,
I picked that house up
Yep.
on a weekend. It was on the ground, and I dug burrows underneath the house. Lorna was on the back end with a rope on a box, and I'd dig like a bloody rabbit, and I'd fill the dirt into the box, and she'd pull the dirt out and empty it.
Oh, underneath the house.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So we had to put beams in underneath the house to pick it up. So we picked it up and moved the house. See?
Okay.
We picked it up. I couldn't afford a removalist, so I did it myself. I dug the holes under, but I hired a truck, a semi-trailer.
Yeah.
And he come and picked it up, and we took it up to where it is now and put it down. Yeah.
That's a whole new way of just moving house. It's a whole different method of moving house. It's like, there's not a house there, so we'll just take our house over.
Well, they move houses all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I know it's Peter's business, the cabins, isn't it? Or is that Paul's business?
Paul.
That's Paul's business doing the cabins. So the way they move houses now.
Oh,
That's brilliant.
This one is sophisticated. We had car jacks, and you jack it up and block it and jack it and block it and jack it and block it until I got up as high as a 44-gallon drum. We just go round.
Put 44
My brother was on that side, I'd be on this side, and Lorna would be over there. We'd be jacking it up a bit at a time, then until we got it up as high as a 44-gallon drum.
That would have been a process. Yeah.
It took us a weekend.
Okay,
to jack it up, and then.
So, was that just for the purposes of being able to fit a trailer in?
Yeah, put a truck underneath it.
Okay. Yeah. I will admit that was going through my mind. I'm like, how the hell did you get that thing off the ground if you didn't have a tractor or a forklift or something to try and lift it up?
No, just a car jack.
Jacks.
Yeah, just
you
go up.
taking
Like
it
a
around
car jack lifts that much at a time.
Yeah, so you just put a block under.
We had three big beams, 10 by 10, I reckon.
Yeah.
Going underneath the house like that, and we just jacked each side up a bit all the way around all the time till we got it up that high.
That's the sort of how do you say innovation. Like that's the sort of smarts that we lack today. Like it's like lack of resources, or like a lack of a tool. We don't
didn't have any money.
Now.
Like see what the kids can do now. Yeah. They go and borrow the money. No, they wouldn't lend me the money. I never, I was debted up to my neck, as it were,
With the property,
yeah. Well, I didn't have the property that stage.
Yeah.
This was before. This was before. This is. I was only married 3 years then.
So you were married at 21. You would have been 24. Yeah.
I would have had the 20 acres by then.
The 28.
Yeah.
So you got the unit, and then you went to McDougall's. You bought that spot off McDougall's.
Yeah. And then we moved the house up there, and then slowly renovated. The house over.
Well, now the way the house looks, it's been renovated like here and like here and then here and then here. It's just like it's about 15 renovations in one.
Well, when Steve got married, I built a room to 2 rooms on the height of his house. He got married, and Cindy was only 16. And,
okay.
And I said, she'll tell you too. I said, it's not going to work, 16-year-old, you're too bloody young,
Yeah.
Anyway, one thing led to another, and Stephen came home and he worked for me. Then I went and got another 20 acres of contract.
Okay.
Another bloke wanted somebody to look after his block, so I went and got 20 acres of contract. So that paid Steve his money. So the two of us worked 70 acres then.
Yeah.
And he
He
worked
worked the 20
he worked
acres.
those 20 acres.
Okay. Yeah,
we
that
we
makes
worked
sense.
it together, but
Yeah, but that was sort of like more his
it-
responsibility.
that
You
paid
took
his
it.
money.
Yeah.
That's all it did. Really.
That was- yeah,
He
yeah,
just done
that's
what I
his
told
wage.
him, but it paid his money. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
Nice.
he done work with me for about 3 years, maybe 4, and then he went and got a job in the bakehouse. So, and he worked in the bakehouse for Sherpig, for maybe 4 or 5 years, and then he went and bought his own farm out the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's decent. So you had it. So you had Peter, then Paul.
No.
Paul and Peter.
Peter and then Stephen.
Peter, then Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Peter, then Stephen.
Because Stephen, when Stephen came and worked for me, Pete was already working for De Villiers. He done his apprenticeship with De Villiers as a refrigeration mechanic.
That's right. Yeah.
He worked with him, and then Steve came on with me, and
So he was working on the farm.
Yeah.
Peter was out working refrigeration.
Yeah.
Which refrigeration? What year would have that been? Because
Jesus.
that's come a long way. Like refrigeration, the way it used to be, and the way it
Oh,
is now. That's different.
Oh, yeah. My mate Kenny Glover used to work for De Villiers, and Pete wanted to be an electrician actually, and he went in and he said, I haven't got an electrician. I don't need electricians, so I need a fridgie. And Pete said, well, that'll do.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just like, so that's a job, yeah? I'll take a job.
I'll be a fridgie.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how that happened. And
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So
Then I think Ron went straight to work for Trevor Schreiber on Grafton, Grapevines. The other boys were Grafton there too as well. And he went Grafton, Grapevines, and Paul went and done his stint working for Trevor Schreiber as well. So he got the big money them days, Grafton and Grapevines.
Yeah, Grafton.
Yeah.
Grafton still makes a fair bit of coin now.
Yeah.
Like I know that.
Wear
like,
your knees out and your buddy. But
it's a cost, you pay for it in
yeah,
the
well,
sort of work
yeah.
it is, but
If
it's
you-
tedious as well, isn't it? Like it's tedious work, Grafton, isn't it? Like with the
most
stuff.
things. But if you work in a crew, you're like talking and laughing, and after a while, you can do it without
really
even
dexterous.
thinking. So you're not thinking about the job. You're just talking.
Just having on. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like it's like working on a production line sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like
that's right. It becomes automatic to you after a while.
Yeah. No,
When I was pruning, I pruned for that many years. I'd be pruning a grapevine and I'd have to go back check if I couldn't remember doing that row. I'd listen to audio books or that's what I used to do anyway.
Serious?
Yeah.
Grafton, listen to audiobooks. That
Yeah,
sounds like.
when I was pruning,
Yeah.
sometimes Lord would ring me up, it'd be 6 o'clock. She said, you come home tonight?
How old would you have been when you were listening to audiobooks? My brain's just going at the moment.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like the technology side
Yeah,
of things.
yeah.
Just listening to audiobooks while you're on the block. That sounds like something where you.
I'd be 30.
30?
Yeah.
So what's that? 69.
I know you can do the math.
Yeah. Well, 39 to 69 is 30 years. So that's like nearly 1970.
Yeah.
Yeah, technology would have caught up a fair bit by
Yeah,
then. in
yeah.
terms
I
of-
had little earphones them days, like
Yeah.
and a little pack. I think I still
Yeah.
got it out in the shed. A little
pretty-
thing
geez,
that
I've gotta
clips
see
on your
some of
belt,
this.
and
Yeah.
it went from tapes to disc.
Yeah, when they went to the Walkmans.
Yeah. Well, I started off in tapes, and then I went to discs.
Went to the disc?
Yeah.
I remember having one of those disc ones and just jump it, like, because if you're moving around too much, the disc could skip, whereas the tape was pretty
Solid.
reliable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tape, you could sort of move around
Yeah.
and give it a bang and she'd keep going, whereas the disc, if you gave it too much of a jolt, it'd skip back a whole chapter. So
It gave me the opportunity to catch up on all the books that I missed out on when I left school.
so you still... So, and this is, I think a lot of people would probably jump to the conclusion you left school at 14 because school wasn't for you, you're not that literate, all those sort of things, but you still got to catch up and it was purely to take care of your family. Like you left school at 14.
It was a bit of that. There's a couple of reasons. Like, I always had trouble. I had what they call Pacific learning difficulty.
Okay.
I had trouble reading all the time.
Yeah.
And always had trouble reading. And I had to repeat one year. This is in high school. I think it might have been be 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had to repeat that year because I didn't pass. And this teacher said to me one day, he said, what books do you like to read? And I said, I don't like reading books very much. And he said, well, what movies do you like? And I said, oh, cowboy movies. Oh, love cowboy movies, you know.
Stuff with a lot of dialogue in them.
You go to the pictures of Saturday Arvo, and it was always to see a cowboy movie.
Okay, nice.
Anyway, a couple of days later, he come to school and he's got, I remember the author, Zane Grey, was an author of cowboy books. He used to write cowboy books.
Okay, yeah.
And he said, try reading that. He said, I reckon it's a good story. So I started reading it, and I found after a while, my reading was improving like 100%. I could read.
Okay.
I could always read before, but I had no comprehension. I could read it.
It wasn't worth
but
reading.
It wouldn't go in the melon, you know?
Yeah.
And the more I read, one of these cowboy books, I finished that cowboy book and I gave it back to me, and he gave me a ticket to the library. He said, here, you go and get as many you want from the library. And,
that's the sort of teacher you want. Yeah. How many people would have been in your class though? At that
45.
45.
Yeah.
One that was the whole year, or was that was
the whole year. Yeah.
Whole year, and that one teacher took care of the whole year.
Yep.
That's still a fair effort.
You get to know people, you know. Where when we went to high school, a teacher was specific to a subject. Say, an algebra teacher was an algebra, and he'd go to class.
It was more about somebody who professes in a single topic rather than somebody who's just a good...
So that teacher never got to know you, like as a person.
Yeah. That tends to happen. High schools now are still very much like that. Primary schools tend to seem... They seem to be, you get the one person for the whole year, and then you go up to the next year, you get your new teacher, but that's your one teacher for the whole year. So
for my money, I left school 14, but for my money, that's far better. You build up a relationship with the teacher, and the teacher gets to know you. You get to respect him. When they come in and out, I said, "Oh, he's arsehole, he's coming again." Or you say something, you don't get to like him, or you don't even get to know him. Really. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think, and they also get to know what your weaknesses are, like how to actually work with you.
Yeah.
Because he's figured out you pretty quickly.
He changed my life that way. Yeah.
That's the sort of shit that you want to a teacher. That's No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So where are we up to? I'm sort of having a bit of a squeeze because
we get sidetracked.
No, but that's the beauty of it. That's exactly what it's for. It's just go and have a yarn. Yeah. So, it's a pretty decent rundown of where you come from and stuff. You didn't do uni or anything. You were just working on the block from the get-go, and you just...
I learnt more out of school than I did in school.
Well, that's it, yeah. A lot of... so I work with young people. A lot of young people that I work with, they're sort of going, a lot of them don't have aspirations to go to uni or anything, but even then I'm just like, go work a couple of crap jobs. Because you'll figure out what you like and what you don't like what you don't like very quickly. Yeah. Then if you want to go to uni, go to uni. Yeah. Because then you're not going to study something that you hate.
No.
Without knowing, So...
I learnt, that it's important in your working life to do something you enjoy. Otherwise you're going to hate your job for the rest of your life, like every day. When I was a blocky, I used to love being a blocky. Put my boots on out the back door and I was on the job. Yeah. And you didn't know travelling. A lot of me mates, I had some mates in Broken Hill, Laurie Gillespie, a mate of mine, and he come down picking for me one time, the mine were on strike.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And this is when I was growing grapes. I owned the block then.
Yeah.
And Laurie came down and he said, how much money did you make last year, Freck? And I told him, I forget what it was now, I told him, he said, shit, I wouldn't work for that much. He said, that's pittance. He said, I get so much, we're talking about a weekly amount,
Yeah.
Weekly amount. And during the course of the night, I said to him, hang on, I said, how much money did you make last year? And they were on strike for about 4 months. See, and my income was going the same, even though it was
pretty consistent.
Nowhere near as much as his. He went boom and bust, like a lot of money, no money, a lot of money, no money. So in the year, we both earned pretty much the same amount of money.
Yeah, but the thing is he spent 4 months in a job where you had to strike. Like in a job that you have to strike, you're not satisfied with your job.
Yeah.
So, you're getting pretty consistent income, but you're also getting an enjoyable time.
Somebody else tells you to strike, though. You don't say, I'm going on strike. The union say, we're going to go on strike. And the union man, he gets paid. The union bosses, they get paid whether you're on strike or not.
Because unions were... That was sort of like a massive thing as well. We've still got unions now, and they still play a very strong part.
Broken Hill was super strong. Yeah.
Okay.
In Broken Hill, you're an A-class man if you're born in Broken Hill, and you're a B-class man if you're born outside the town. So an A-class man to get a job if I went for a job and you went for a job, I'm A-class, you're B-class, they give me the job. Yeah, don't
Was
worry
that
about.
was that like a known thing, or was that like an under the table thing?
Oh no,
That was the way they
you're
actually
right.
graded you
Yeah,
like that.
you're graded. Yeah, like cattle. You're graded. Yeah, yeah. If you were born in Broken Hill, the other way you could get to be an A-class man if I married a Broken Hill girl. If I was a B-class man, or say if I lived in Mildura,
Yeah, yeah.
and I went there and I married a Broken Hill girl, then I'd become an A-class man then.
Yeah, yeah, because you're ingrained in the community then.
Yeah.
Whereas you're going back to Mildura as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
A B-class man.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah. No. That like it makes sense, but the way that it's so known, like it's something which was in your face. It's not just like
Oh no.
like if you go for a job now, they can't do that to you.
No,
They do it to you,
discrimination.
but they can't.
But, yeah.
They do the same thing. They just go, okay, where you're from? Do you have a family? All that sort of stuff. And if they see a woman go on for a job, but she's got kids, she becomes a B-class person because of the fact that it's just like they do it, but they can't tell you that they're doing it.
That's right.
Whereas that seems.
Yeah. Oh no, it was straight out, and there's no. Everybody knew.
Yeah.
You know, like that you were. That's
how it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So Broken Hill, you go back there often now?
I went back for a nostalgia trip about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Craig Bilstein, my mate, used to live next door here.
Yeah.
He got his van, I got my van, and we went back up there and showed him all the places where we used to go when I was a young kid. And we used to live across the road from the North Park, you know, and to me, of them days, it was a big playground area. Okay. When I went back there, it's only about 4 city blocks, you know. Like
serious?
It's shrunk in size. And when I was young, I remember it as being a big place. And when I went back, and in reality, it's not. It's only a little tiny place. But
was that because there's been stuff put up around
it?
Or
is
it
just
it's
my
always
perception,
been that size?
you know.
You know,
Just what your memory tells you, you know.
Yeah, like this massive, big area.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good though.
And I went back there and I said to one of my rallies that I was coming back, and I said, do you reckon anybody come out for lunch? We'd was at the Caravan Park, a hotel.
Oh, in Broken Hill.
In Broken Hill, yeah. And I said, they got a restaurant and a pub there. I said, you reckon anybody come out? She said, I'll put the word around. Yeah. And 22 of my rallies come out.
Okay.
I didn't know half of them.
Okay. Word gets around Broken Hill real quick. They're a pretty tight-knit community over there, aren't they? Like everyone knows everyone in Broken Hill.
Yeah.
I work with 2 people that were from Broken Hill at the moment. And they're younger. Like one's just a couple of years older than me, and one's 45. So they come from Broken Hill. But both of them knew all the other people that both of them knew. So there was a third person who'd come in for work experience or something from Broken Hill. Yeah. And just a name had gotten brought up. You could just see one of them terms like, oh, such and such. And then it just kicked off. And it's like, how the hell do you know everyone? And then I've been over to Broken Hill and I figured out why. It's not
early days, particularly the unions were very, very strong. And it was a very, with the workforce and even the union management team, and it was them and us, very much them and us, you know, like it was management against the workers, you know.
So union workers and union management, or union workers and management against the actual business
mine company people, not the union leaders. They were like little gods.
Okay. So. That's a pretty big thing, because I've got some of the stuff on here in terms of politics and technology and religion and that sort of stuff. But that was a very big political thing. In terms of working class and then upper class, and your unions are very much your working class, and your representative for your working class, and then all your business owners and your especially mining companies and like that. They were all upper class, and it was this whole they're taking all of our money away and being pigs. We still see it now. You know, it's like, there's 1% of people who own the most money and everybody else is just treated like trash. It's like,
there was no respect. You know, it doesn't matter how smart they were. They were the owners, company managers. You know, and,
Were they competent?
Oh, I think so. They had to be. Yeah, they had their job. You know, it's just them and us sort of situation.
Okay. No, I just didn't know if there was like the whole nepotism. Like it's old mates who started it. It's his son running it now, and his son's an idiot. And it's like, you know, those sort of situations.
No. I think you pretty much got there by merit, but
okay. Good.
Yeah,
that's good to know that it was actually running that way. So. Nice. Well, I've got some stuff on here in terms of things that would have happened since you've been alive, or at least since you've been alive and able to remember them, because, you know, like you were 39 was start of the war, 45's end of the war, and then
Yeah.
you wouldn't have been alive for those at all. Oh, you're alive for all of that, but you wouldn't be able to remember those at all.
I remember in our schoolyard we had trenches dug.
Seriously?
Yeah, because Broken Hill was lead, silver and zinc mines. And when the Japs were bombing Darwin, they thought that's where they're gonna
head towards, because it's
towards
a resource centre.
So we used to have practices of jumping into the trenches. And I can remember, even though I was only 6.
Serious?
Yeah. I still remember that.
Okay. That's pretty intense.
That's the only thing. And we had a munitions factory in Broken Hill too.
Munitions. Okay.
They used to make bombs and bullets and stuff like that.
I had no idea that. I thought it was purely. I got the mining side of things, but I didn't realise that it was also
they had a
manufacturing.
munitions factory. My cousins, they were older than me. They used to work in the munitions factory.
Do they have any of, like, you know how they have like tourism attractions for like things that used to be? Is there any remnants?
Not in the war things. In the mines, big in the underground diggings and that. There's tourist attractions in that area.
Nothing to do with the war and munitions.
Nothing to do with the war and the mines. No.
Yeah. So it's not been preserved in any way. They weren't just bulldozed.
There was a couple of Turks. I remember we used to get the train. It was an open train for the mine picnic. We used to have it. All the mines used to close on that day, and we'd all have a picnic. The mine had put the picnic on.
Okay.
And we get open trucks, like just cattle trucks. And we'd all get in the trucks and ride out to Silverton, which is a place out there called Penrose Park.
Yeah.
And these 2 Turks got on the hill and they started shooting people in the train. And they shot a couple of people in the train. And anyway, the train went back to Broken Hill, and they sent out a force of miners in with guns. They went and shot all the Turks. Yeah, you've got to look deep in history to find that story.
That's
that's
crazy, because it's the middle of Australia. It's not like around the edges where you'd think, like, if you've got somebody coming in. Well, that's one of the things which I feel like now it's like, if World War III broke out, we're in Mildura, we're a long way from any of the issues, because it's at the bottom of Australia. You'd have to go all the way around to get here.
That was before my time. I still went on the train ride, but they'd done all the shooting before. Yeah,
before you'd actually started
before we got there. Yeah.
Geez, that's not something I would have expected at all.
No, well, it's publicised pretty good in Broken Hill. If you go to Broken Hill going through the museums and the buildings there, it's well documented.
I'll be honest, I've never really thought too much of Broken Hill when I've been there, because it didn't seem. It seemed like it used to be a mining town. I know there's still mining and stuff, but it seemed very much like something which is slowly dying off. Like all the major parts of it aren't as thriving as what they used to be. So going there, it just felt like it was sort of the remains of the town were still there.
When I was there, I had a paper run up there. I used to go after school and do a paper, and there was 65 pubs. In Broken Hill.
That's one thing I knew it was known for. When I was DJing, I played at the Night Train, I think they called it. Yeah, and that's something where like. They nicknamed it the fight train, because after every night, once it closed off, people would be out in the street and fights would kick off. And then it'd be between that pub and there'd be the was it the Astral, I think, was there, and then they had the
that's in Argent Street.
Argent Street. And there was another one just up the road, a bit further up the road, which was I forget, but there'd be like 3 or 4. You just see like every corner had a pub on it.
Exactly.
But understandably, if you're a miner in there, so. I'll go through a couple of things. So we had bombing in Darwin in 42, so you've only 3 or 4 years old. UN formed in 45. We have 1950 to 53, so you would have been 11 to 14. So that's the Korean War, and then 47 to 91 we had the Cold War. So like after World War II, then we had the Cold War with Russia sort of breaking out. Then we had 55 to 75 have Vietnam War. 65 was when Australians provided troops. So you would have been right in the 65. So what's that? That's 39.
I remember the Cold War and the Korean War. I remember the controversy with that. Like a lot of people disagreed with the war. And rebelled.
Okay.
When the big part, I remember listening to the radio nearly hourly, was when Kennedy blockaded Cuba.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, when he blockaded, and he said that if the ships didn't turn back, he was going to bomb them. That would start.
That would kick it off, yeah.
The nuclear war, like that would have been, and everybody, not only me, everybody was at the ears to the radio, hourly.
Yeah, because that's. I remember that was what do they call it? The minutes to midnight thing, and midnight being nuclear war, and they'd sort of have a report on how many minutes.
Well,
to
it
midnight
could be. I can't remember that, but
I'd heard about it. But like during that Cold War time, everyone was anxious because it's like nuclear war meant a lot of death.
Well, we've seen what happened to Hiroshima and
that was that was after Hiroshima, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was long way.
I think it was in the
Hiroshima.
50s somewhere like that.
So and that's like
I don't remember the exact date, but I remember that the conflict and they had the draft for the Vietnam War and my alley never come out. If you're 18 and your name went into a hat, if your name went in a hat, off you went. And my name never come out. So as I say, I've been pretty well blessed all my life. I missed all the depressions, all the wars,
literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So okay, given that you got to stay in Australia, what was like the Vietnam War? So Chrissy and I went over to Vietnam. And when we were over there, what I'd learned in schools and what they've got in their museums and stuff, because we went to their museums with all the different things and stuff in there, that's different.
Yeah.
And the way that they saw it and the way I didn't learn about it, since then I've done a bit more of a looking and I'm just like, shit, we weren't exactly in the right here.
No.
From what I understand now.
Yeah.
But what was it like staying in Australia and getting to see the way we were all acting about what was going on?
We were pretty much like you just said there, we were brainwashed as a people. There's no doubt we were brainwashed by the power of America, all the way with LBJ, I think the slogan was, he come out, Lyndon Johnson, and he come out and Harold Holt, I think was the Prime Minister of Australia at the time.
Disappeared into the ocean. I heard about Harold Holt.
Well, he suckled up to him and, without looking at as you said, without looking at the pros and cons of it, when you invade another country, to me that's a no-no. I don't believe any country should invade another country.
No. I can understand responses to invasions and stuff, but I don't think proactively going to another country that's not necessarily done anything to you. That was
every war we've been in, we've gone to another country. If anybody attacked Australia, I'd grab my gun myself and go.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
But when you're taking blokes up and America said we should do this, or it's in our interest to do this, and that's when I have a bit of trouble.
That's happened a little bit more recently as well with the whole Iraq thing, because that blew up.
Well, that was wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
That was wrong.
That was something where
and you can't tell me that the heads of their country knew it was wrong. They didn't.
There's been a few whistleblowers along the line while it was happening that said it was wrong, and they were just like, shh, it was. Don't say anything. So to hear it sort of, that's one of the, I suppose, the theme things that I'm finding before this was that what happened with Vietnam, and the country being told this is what's happening because we need to do it because and we're going to go and join a war over here, and our blokes are going, seemed to be happening again with. Especially the Iraq thing. Yeah. Like that was, it seems similar. It's just like, all right, we're going because we have to and because it's wrong. Yeah. So I don't, we're not doing much at the moment with the Ukraine thing or the Israel thing by the looks of it. I think everyone's just thrown their hands up and gone,
you won't get any bodies and souls. You might get our bushmasters and our ammunition and money and bombs. But,
So Vietnam, so getting to stay back in Australia in terms of being brainwashed, were you of the opinion, during the time, were you of the opinion that, fair enough, we need to be over there shooting stuff? Was that, regardless of what happened, at the time, is that basically how you were
initially, that was the thing to do. Yep. But as it drove on, as the more it went on, the more news media perhaps sent their own correspondence over. I'm not sure how, but the news that come back was telling a bit like you, was telling the other side of the story as well.
Okay,
and that's when the conflict with people come.
Kicked
you know, our dart club was not going to play darts in the NRL one day. That's how.
So it got to the point where little individual cohorts were
Yeah,
making their...
you're saying, I'm not going to RSL, the bastards, you know, they're keeping
'cause
us
that's...
in war, you
Yeah.
know, and which was not true, but
it
that's
wasn't
the way
RSL,
people
but it
felt.
was... it was just like, I need to do something, even if it's small, to say that I'm not going with
I don't
this.
agree.
Yeah.
And some of the troops that come back, I remember the bloody hissing and the booing that they got, you know, when the troops come back, they poor bucks, they didn't do anything wrong.
Well, they were just doing what...
They were doing what they were told and thought they're doing. Yeah.
And I suppose when they went initially, everyone was on board.
Yeah,
good
initially. So, but it changed while they were over there. So
and that's the hard part. You're coming back to a whole country that doesn't think the same of you.
Yeah.
So, because that was, where was it going with that? In terms of, we weren't winning. Like that was sort of what became apparent.
They didn't win. They left the Yanks. We got defeated.
We got defeated by the Vietnamese.
Yeah.
I know it's their own thing, but it's like you're on their land, so they've got the advantage. But like that. It wasn't working out well, and nothing's come of it. No. It's not like we got defeated and now communism is all over the world, which is what they were afraid of.
Afghanistan was the same.
Yeah.
Like they went before I think the French were in there initially, then the Russians, and the Russians got out and the bloody Yanks went in.
Yeah.
You know, and they took us with them.
And that's it. Yeah, we went over there. We've been there for however many years, and then when we left, it's just like, guess what? And we're getting pushed out. It's not that we're leaving.
Nothing's changed.
So. I think that's one of those things. It's a reoccurring theme that we see throughout history that people just don't seem to get.
If you took the gun making and the war like out of America, if you took all their economic things that make their weapons, America would go broke. They make that much and supply to all over the world. Like it's a huge. I don't know what the capital cost is. You can put down, say, farming in Australia is worth so much $1,000, milk is worth so much, sugar industry is worth so much income to the country. You have a look at America and see where their income's coming from. You know, and it's absolutely
they
huge.
need conflict.
They need conflict to keep them going. That's right. So
that's one of those things where you do see when something breaks out, like the Saudi Arabians and not Saudi Arabians. No, where was it? In Africa, where they've got like the little warlords and stuff. Like you look at their guns, it's just like that's an American gun.
AK-47.
It's like, where'd you get those from?
They couldn't make them. Some of them blokes are still coming out of the trees.
It's pretty difficult.
It is. And they got hand grenades and tanks and trucks and things.
So and that's it. People like. I think we've got a good mix of both in Australia in terms of we do, like everyone's got the opportunity to go and make as much money as you want to in the most ethical way that you can, but it's not the whole country. Like we've got Centrelink and stuff like that, which is designed to make sure that shit runs. And like we've got Medicare to make sure everyone's healthy. Whereas you go over to America and it's like everything is about the money. Like you have to...
If you haven't got it, you haven't got nothing.
Exactly. Like if you break your leg over there, you're in trouble. Or you break your leg over here, you go to the hospital, they suss you out, you're all good. You go over there, it's just like, do you have insurance? Because the insurance companies are getting paid by you and they're getting the tax money from the... So it's just sort of one of those things where it's just too...
You don't get sick in America.
No, you don't do that. Chrissy and I, no, not Chrissy and I, when I went over, I was like, I made sure I had good health insurance, but at the same time, it's just like, don't do something stupid that's going to get you hurt here. Which seems weird going to one of the best developed countries in the world. It's just like, of all the places you want to go, as if here is one of the most unsafe places to get hurt. You know, like, well, I'd be less worried about getting hurt in Bali. You know?
We went over in 2000, Lorna and I went over, done a 32-day trip around England, Scotland, France and Europe, all through there, you know. And on a tour, bus tour.
Nice.
I think we went 2000 because that was the Olympics was on in 2000.
All
Sydney. The planes were coming in and bringing people in. They were going back empty. So you could nearly get a ride for nothing, you know, like very, very cheap.
That's smart. That's very smart. I like that.
Which is opportune, you know.
You just wait until the Olympics are over and then you just catch one back when you're all going back over full.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So
that's smart. So going over to England and you would have gone to see Freckleton. You would have gone
Yeah,
over to
we
see
went
like
and
up
seen
in
that.
Edinburgh,
Yeah.
and
And there was a little girl, Scottish girl. Her name was Freckleton. Anyway, she come when I had the block. She come and she got a job picking grapes with me. See, but her boyfriend. They weren't married. They were just backpacking. As it were. And I happened to say one smoker. I said, "How come you picked me as a blocky?" I said, everybody had their name down on the board, and there's A, B, C, D, F, and so there's a lot of people in front of me, I said, I thought if you're going alphabetically, and she said, "Well, my name's Freckleton, and this is a smoker, And I said, "Really?" And anyway, we start telling me stories and no relation.
But
because we started tracking our family tree back, when your name was Freckleton, and when she gave me a address and phone number and everything, and when we was on tour, we got to Edinburgh. And I give her a ring at Edinburgh because I went and seen the military tattoo. I give her a ring on the phone. I said, "Where?" She said, "Where are you?" I said, I'm in Scotland. "Where are you?" And I told her where I was, and I was on about 2 streets. She said, "I'll be there in a minute."
Nice.
So she brought her mum and her dad. Good.
It is a small world like that.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
When I was over in England, I met family that I think they were distant family.
Yeah.
But that was one of those things as well. It's just like, I'm in the area. And oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Come and see you. Yeah, they took me to the football and they were, lovely like that.
Yeah.
So you dodged having to go over to Vietnam, but you got to see the way that it evolved in Australia. So like everyone was for it. And then as it went on, media, I'm just trying to get a good summary. So as it went on, the media sort of went over and actually started reporting back what's going on over there. And then Australians have sort of gone, hang on a second, this isn't what we're being told. And then people started rebelling in a sense, and they started sort of kicking up a stink. I know that there was a lot of, in Sydney, there was a whole bunch of... a
lot of demonstrations for young uni students particularly because they're next online to go.
Well, that was it, young uni students, and they're like, well, what happens in unis tends to happen in the community shortly afterwards anyway, but also they're prime candidates for being sent over. So that makes sense. So, and then from there, obviously, as we pulled out, you reckon the blokes that were coming back from over there were just not...
No, they were treated real bad.
Treated like shit by the community, which they didn't really...
No fault of theirs. I never had any personal experience of that, but... just through the media and stuff, And
so the media treat them like crap as well.
They reported on it, That's what you hear about it, where people with hiss and boo and...
Do you have any mates that had to go over that come back?
No.
That's all right. I just didn't know if that you had anyone that had been through that.
No, well, nearly one of the reasons why I thought a lot of me mates were exempt because they were blockies like me. If you grew food, you didn't go in the... Your name didn't go in the pot.
Yeah, my granddad, he was he'd just gotten married at the time, or he was just getting married. I think either that exempted him, or he was doing something in terms of building. So like he was in a profession which exempted him, and he was just getting married as well. So it was one of those things that there were reasons to get exempt, and you could see people like scrambling for like, how do I get in the exempt basket? So beautiful. So Vietnam was there. 61, first man in space. You would have been what, 22?
No. I don't know how old I would have been.
About 22.
I remember listening to it on the radio though. The man on the moon, or the first bloke around the moon you're talking about?
I reckon they've got first man in space. Moon landing 69, but first man in space.
He was a Russian, wasn't he?
Yeah, they had the Sputnik. They had Sputnik go up. That was the artificial satellite.
Yuri Gagarin or something.
Yeah, and they had Sydney Opera House. I didn't realise Sydney Opera House was so young. Finished in 73 apparently. I didn't realise it was only finished in 73. So that was like just doing some research of what's going on.
What's going on?
That I don't know if that was a big thing for.
I went over there as a tourist to have a look at it, and it was huge, massive.
Nice. Assassination of Kennedy. I remember that. Was that a big thing in Australia? Okay. I didn't know how big what was going on in America affected Australia. Obviously, because of the war, like Vietnam War, there was a lot of, if it happens in America, Australia needs to respond.
Well, Kennedy got us out of the nuclear war, and I think there was a lot of people he was held in high esteem in Australia. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were quite happy with.
Oh
Kennedy.
yeah, he's a good fella. That's a.
Well, he got us out of nuclear war.
Well, he pulled Khrushchev, the Russian leader. He pulled him and said, he gave him ultimatum and he stuck to his guns.
Yeah.
You know. And,
I think people respect that.
but
Regardless
yeah,
of
they
the
did.
situation.
So, yeah, I remember looking at, listening to that on the radio and following the whole thing. But the more I listen to that, the more corrupt American people are. Like their law enforcement people, like the bloke that shot him, he got shot. Harvey Oswald, I think was. And he got shot by another bloke, and then there's a cover up by the FBI, and
that's what I keep getting. Like I don't know if it's just the way that history's telling it, or whether or not that's.
Where there's smoke, there's usually fire.
And that's it. Yeah. Because it was sort of like
it might not be exactly right, but
it just seems underhanded. Everything seems. It's just like, okay, he knows too much. We've got to tie up a loose end, and then the guy who's tied up the loose end needs to get tied up, and they need to disconnect it far enough that
Look at our own government, like Morrison just a little recently, secretly he took on 5 different jobs, like he became the minister of this and the minister of that. And, and nobody knew about it. He done it.
I still don't know about it now. You're introducing me to new topics, so that's
Well, he done it underhand. So if you're sick, I can take, or because I'm Prime Minister, I can take over your job.
It's just like
he was almost like a dictator.
So he was doing.
Gough Whitlam done the same thing. Gough Whitlam.
He got outed real quick. That's actually one of the things on here. The dismissal. 1975. Gough Whitlam dismissed, and Malcolm Fraser comes in. That was huge.
That was. I can understand why that happened, but it was wrong the way, in my opinion, what it did. because the people elected Gough for a start. And the Governor General, was it? I think that
the Governor General is the one who sacks.
Kerr.
That's it.
He sacked him. And then they had another election, and Malcolm Fraser got in. But the reason that was because Gough had given himself. Gough had about 9 portfolios.
So
he's almost a dictator.
That's it, So he's got this group, but he also has this group which supports this group. So every time he wants to make something happen, he's already got all the supporters because it's him. It's like I've got all the votes.
It's a bit like the war. Initially, when they sacked him, all my people were against that. They said, "No, you can't do that." Kerr was a pommy, and they said, "You can't.
That's right,
you can't do that."
The Queen and stuff.
But then, when it all came out, why he got sacked was the fact, that he'd taken up all these portfolios. He nearly turned it into a bloody dictatorship rather than a democracy.
If he wanted something to happen, he had the power in the government to make it happen.
To make it happen.
Regardless of what anybody
when
thought.
It all come through, people got a bit more.
A bit more informed about it.
Okay, we're still a democracy, thank Christ,
And that's, I think it's decent to have that, because we had a disconnect from there eventually, didn't we? Because we had, we're still constitutional, but we don't report to the Queen anymore. Like the Governor General doesn't report to the Queen anymore, or something along those lines.
But you still got the British layers of Parliament. You've got your upper house, your lower house, and the structure's pretty much the same.
British
but the Queen, or the King hasn't got any say in what we do.
Which is like, it's good. It's up with the times, but at the same time, always like we had the recent thing when they crowned King. Well, that's not William, Prince William. What's the new king? King Charles. Yeah. When they did that, and I remember Chrissy and Sam were there, and they were asking why is there all this stuff about like there's a lot of religious stuff in that, but it's also like how they've got the globe and they've got the staff, and there's a lady holding the sword, and they're doing all this ceremonial stuff, and it's hard because kings and queens and stuff like that, they don't really serve too much of a purpose. But the fact that the British government has to report to the Queen or to the King has a big purpose, because it means that they are subject to somebody who is above the law that is supposed to do those sort of things, and those people who are above the law have to answer to God as far as they're concerned. So it's sort of like this whole, like, you don't have to worry as much about your system becoming corrupt because your system has to answer to somebody who has to answer to something which is higher. So it's like it's
I think it's tolerated, because of tourist.
Yeah.
It's a huge
massive
industry.
money. Yeah.
A huge. When I know that, I queued up for 2 hours to go and have a look at Buckingham Palace. You know.
I got to the front gates and I'm just like, that's good. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
But all the pomp and ceremony it doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. It's the only place that happens, and that makes it unique.
Yeah.
And like when I went to Edinburgh to see the Edinburgh Tattoo, in the audience, the compere said, the master ceremony says, give us a yell if you're from America. And half the stadium went, hey!
The other half would have been Chinese.
And they're all over the world.
Yeah.
And what about from England? And they go, hey, just a little voice down the back,
So we just live down the road.
But every country in the world was represented with the shout out, and I thought, and that's in Edinburgh because you go, the tourism is a big place in England. Yeah.
Well, I feel like there's an aspect of it which seems like a pilgrimage. Like I know that when going to Europe is that you could be the most, not atheistic person, but the most non-Christian person, but going to see all those like churches and stuff around Europe is just phenomenal.
It is.
And there's like a pilgrimage factor of like, I'd even say with the kings and queens is in terms of going to see the royal family it's not so much that you're going to see the royal family, you've just seen something which is upheld over hundreds and hundreds of years.
And you go through and you look, the ancestry goes back, right back, they've got... No.
There's a lot of weight that bears on. Like you think about the way that shit happened with William. Was it William that got rejected? No, Harry. Harry's not part of the clan anymore.
No, because he married American, and she said, "I don't like this.
Yeah,
let's go back to America."
Yeah, it's just like no, that's enough of that. And he was sort of. It wasn't just the fact that he left, but he was also shunned a bit. It's just like if you're going to leave, piss off. Yeah, like it was very much along those lines.
Yeah,
and like
and there's 1,000 minders, that look after their interests and all that.
Yeah. No, they can't do it all on their own. No, but it's just like you can't act up in community because if you act up in community, then that's going to look badly back on them.
I'm happy to tolerate that. I think all the pomp and the ceremony, and a lot of people say it's not relevant to us, and maybe it isn't. But but you have a look at every other leadership in the world, and the poms are the best.
Well, and it's because this is where I was going with it. I feel like it lacks that whole. You have to report to somebody who's going to ask what sort of an idiot your group has been. Yeah. And you got to do it. I think he has to catch up. The Prime Minister catches up with the King weekly or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much just sitting down and going, "What sort of idiots have you guys been this week?" And you basically got to sit there and it's like what's the Catholic thing they do? The confession. It's like going to confession. You sit there and you go, I've been an idiot. And they go, okay, that's stupid. Don't go and do that anymore. And I think there's a part of that, but I think that people like that as well. Like people like knowing that their government answers to someone.
To somebody else.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's good. And it's not just, and it's not answering to somebody who's got a really vested interest in anything apart from the country doing good.
That's right.
That's sort of like, it's not like they're
and they're trained from that eye to have that interest.
Exactly. How do you keep this country from going to crap? So I like that.
Yeah.
But I think like all the ceremony and stuff like that is to know that those people aren't just working for mining companies or aren't just working for the Arabs or aren't just working that all the pompous stuff just helps you to go, they've got some sort of order about what they're doing, which is a bit non-biased. Their bias is just to the country. So so that's pretty decent. I don't know how long we've been going for.
I don't know. It's 1:15, whatever the time it is.
I think I have no idea how long this has been going for. Yeah, it's about an hour and 10. It's completely up to you. I love a yarn. But we'll do something to wrap it up because we try and stick to an hour just so that way it's also digestible.
Well, you don't want to bore people to death.
I don't think this is boring at all. I love it. Well, there's some stuff where it's a little bit dry, but at the same time, it's just like there's stuff that you've seen that won't be seen again because it was a first. Like you've seen internet come in, you've seen those sort of you've seen the way that internet has changed the world. You can't unchange that. You would have been around as well when what's something that's changed the world? Like women coming into the workforce. You know, as the pill got made and stuff like that, women coming into the workforce changed it, and it's never going to be unchanged. Like that's not going to go back to the way it was.
No.
So there's stuff like that you've seen that's like.
My first job was to walk behind a horse. Would you believe?
Seriously.
Yeah, they call it silly ploughing. You hook up a horse and there's this plough that goes under the vines.
Yes,
And pulls the weeds out from under the vines. And I talked about it the other day, we were sitting there talking, and they talked about their first job.
Yeah.
And I said, well,
silly
my first job, I was about 15.
Okay.
Not my first job, but the first job that was unique that doesn't happen today.
So because you're working on, from 13, 14, you were working on the farm with Dad.
Yeah.
But the task of silly ploughing is something that you'll never see again.
No, you'll never see that again. No,
So
and he said, I'll muck around with me boss, and he said, every 2 hours I want you to take that horse up, and he said swap the horses over and give him a bucket of pears so he can have a spell. And I said, what about me?
Yeah. What do you mean? The horses, they've got to hold the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I often think of that. And, Muck said, you get you a spell at 5 o'clock, boy.
Well, that's another thing, like break times and stuff like that. Like in terms of working on the block, it's like these days there's stuff in place to make sure you don't run people to death and that they keep rocking up for work, like the amount of breaks you get per day and how much you get paid and all those sort of things. I get why it's in place, but like that wasn't a thing.
No.
If you worked on the block, it's just like if something stops working for a bit, you might get a chance to have a drink while it gets fixed. Or...
When we'd be pulling out or doing a job like that, we'd race each other down the road. Like the mindset was completely different. You know, if you got out of the road first, you felt you're pretty good. You know? Like, there was some pride in doing that.
Yeah.
Now they don't think like that at all.
So Chrissy and I met because we worked at employment services, and pulling out, rolling on, that sort of work was one of those jobs which it was always going. Like it was dependent on the time of the year.
Yeah.
But if it was the time of year, you could always say there's a pulling out job. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do it. And it's just like, this is easy money. But you'd go out there and you'd have somebody who would start and they'd have enough motivation to get into it, but they wouldn't find themselves earning that much money because they were comparing themselves to Asian people who'd come across and they were working methodically.
Yeah.
Like they had it down to earning thousands of dollars a week because of the fact that they knew how to do it quick enough, consistently enough, like what you're saying, like racing to the end of the road because they'd earn so much money, and these people would be getting half a row done and wondering why they're earning a penance because of the fact that, like,
Well, I'm going back before contract days when we raced each other down the roads. It wasn't contract. Later on, when you got paid for so much 100 vine.
Okay.
I'm going back with wages, and wages, you'll be working for wages like either weeding under the vines or whatever you're doing.
So you're still only working for hourly rate.
Hourly
you
rate,
just want to get as much as you can done in an hour for the competition.
But there's a pride that, that I beat him down the road.
Yeah. I think taking pride in your work is something which has gone a little bit by the wayside.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't find that as often now, especially working. It's hard because there's some jobs where I don't know how to think of it now. People don't like to just do a very good job at something that they're just doing. So like if going to work at Macca's, it's a bit of a menial job, but it's a first job for a lot of like young kids, or going to work at Fisher's like the IGA. It's a bit of a menial job for a young kid.
Yeah.
They don't take that on now and go, how can I be as good at this job as you could possibly be so I could, like, I'm bloody great at it.
Yeah.
They just go, I've got to rock up between this hour and this hour and stay there until it's time to knock off.
It's a different mindset.
Yeah,
it is.
No, I don't see that. It's difficult, and it's I don't know what changed there. I don't know at what point we've flipped from having a job which is, it's not like this outrageous thing you've gone in for. No. All right. Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much the main
Very
side.
good.
Is there anything that you saw on there which you wanted to chat about? Because I've got...
Not particularly. There was one subject you had written there that I had to sit and think for 10 minutes to work out. And I remember it was something about space. And I was always interested in space, the measurement of something.
Like measurement of like metric to imperial, or
No,
like
no, it was like to do with space in mass and massive matter and what the hell
the
was that?
establishment of the Australian Space Agency was in 2018. World Heritage, Introduction to Medicare, Establishment of Reserve Bank, Security, Introduction, Discovery of the Higgs boson particle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That now I sat there and I couldn't think what it was. You know, it had escaped my memory, and I went and Googled up
What the Higgs boson was?
Yeah.
No, fair
and
enough.
I still couldn't get my head around it.
Well, I think that's one of those things where, because this is a universal thing, I think there's going to be somebody who's like that. They went to uni, and that's the sort of stuff
They know what it's all about.
I'll look it up very quick because once I see it, I'll be able to remember. But I remember once they built the Higgs boson. Explain. They built the super collider thing in was it Switzerland? They built this massive big ring, and they just run stuff around. And they crashed the two together, and they've just sort of gone, oh, this thing that we thought, you know, they do all their theory. Yeah. It's like someone had theorised that was a thing. That's why it's called the Higgs boson, because apparently that was the person that theorised it, but they've actually got to test it. They're like, oh shit, it's real. Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah. Was it Higgs boson? Higgs field that gives mass to other fundamental particles such as these. Yeah, so not all fundamental particles have mass. It is way outside my knowledge range.
Yeah. Well, that's but I remember reading something about it, you know, and the more I thought about it, the more bloody confused I got, and I knew something was out of space somewhere along the line, but I couldn't. And I didn't look up any detail. I just Googled
just got
that.
a general. That was literally just a Google of what how do you explain it, and they're just like it's the particle. What is it? It's the field that makes things have mass, and it's like it means that you weigh something. I'm like, that still doesn't make any sense.
For a kid that left school at 14, mate, it was beyond me.
Yeah, it was. I like to think of myself as somebody who can research something and try and retain it. That makes no sense. So I'm going to have to search that up a lot more, because guaranteed I'm going to come across somebody who knows something
will be on the
about
know.
it.
Yeah, they'll know what it.
Honestly, that's probably where I'd want to learn it from, because they'd be able to give me the ground up.
Well, exactly.
And probably a bit of why it's so important, because apparently that was groundbreaking. Like when they found that, it was just mind blowing that it's a real thing.
Yeah, it made people think differently.
Yeah, we're all worried about black holes and stuff now, and going to Mars and all that sort of. That's the big thing now.
And I still can't get it in my head that we can go out there forever, like.
Oh, I never hit anything. Yeah, you can just keep going.
Just in space, like just space. You know, I can't get it. It's to me, it's be another dimension or something. We might be like
it's mental.
It's so vast. Like to think that you can get in a spaceship, do 1,000,000 miles an hour and go out forever.
Yeah. Like, one thing that blew my mind is that the lights that we see, so when we're looking up at stars at night, we're not seeing those stars today. We're seeing those stars from millions of years ago.
Yeah, the light's still coming.
Yeah. So if we were on, say, one of those stars, and this blew my mind, if they had a telescope strong enough to see Earth, they would be looking at Earth with dinosaurs on it.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah, because that's how long it takes. That blows my mind. Yeah. It's just like, hang on, how's that real? So... Yeah, that's you've got just thinking of like stars and those sort of things. You've had a keen interest in rocks and gems and stuff for ages.
When I was in Broken Hill, and it was an excuse to go on little trips. Okay. Like with weekends, I'd throw my swag on my push bike and go out around the Mully Keeps and pick up rocks and save rocks, and then.
So these are rocks that you've collected by hand, not you've gone out and I imagine some of them you might have purchased because it's something you didn't have, but are they generally a lot of rocks that you've gone and found?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I thought like you were just an enthusiast that you go to like a farmer's market.
Some I swap. Oh no. I've been to swap meetings where I've had say 6 pieces of galena, say, or silver, lead and zinc.
Yeah.
I might have 6 pieces, and I go to a swap meet and the bloke's got a couple of rocks from Rhodesia or something.
I'll
give you one of them for one of these, you know.
Yeah.
And like that.
That's a proper swap meet. Yeah.
I went to a couple of places like that, you know. Yeah. But no, but I used to also grind them like Woodsy. You know how Woodsy grinds stones?
Yeah, they've got like the tumbler and
yeah,
stuff.
tumbler,
and they grind.
yeah.
I don't know. I didn't realise that you were that involved with it. I thought you just enjoyed them.
No, I used to do that. Yeah,
I've got a whole box of. I've always had a gem box and stuff like that. So I've always had. Chrissy thought it was great when she met me. I'll just show these things out. But I always had a keen interest in those. So when I come here and saw them, I just thought, oh, you're an enthusiast.
It's just when it went, like if we went when we went over to Streaky Bay, I look across and there's Iron Knob. So I said, oh, I'll go and have a look at that. And we pulled in, spent the night there, and I met the bloke in a pub. And I had my little collection with me that I was ready to swap. And,
so you'd take a collection round to swap with
not
people?
always, but I knew I was going past Iron Knob, and I thought there might be a chance, you know. And when I went up to the centre, I took a little collection up with me up there, you know.
Okay. So, because you know you're going to a place, are you going to a place that's known for minerals, or are you going to a place that's known for swap meets?
No, for minerals.
For minerals,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
so you'd go to there and you'd be like, okay,
no,
the minerals
swaps are incidental.
Yeah,
like I went to Sapphire, and I dug up a heap of sapphires, or a heap. I made Lorna a bloody necklace and a couple of earrings with it. You know, I got them over there.
Nice.
That you know, just that you found a rock, found it, identified it, took it back and ground it up and to make it what it is. You know, it was an interesting. Yeah.
That's the sort of stuff that I'd like to be able to do. Like I don't have the skills at all at the moment, but it's something you build the
pretty
skills
basic
for by
skills. It's just you learn
making a tumbler with a bit of water and then a whole bunch of rocks in with it. And spin them around until they. No, that's holds a lot of sentimental weight as well. Knowing that you've made that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
And Lightning Ridge, we went up to Lightning Ridge and picked up the opal. I got a couple of jars in opal there, and I took them when I went up to Cooper Petey, and I showed this bloke this jar of rocks, and he said, "Leave it with me." I said, "No, mate, I won't."
Nice try. Oh, people try anything, wouldn't they? Yeah. So I'll have a look at it for you.
You can go through and take out all the good ones.
No, I won't be having that. So, is there any one specific gem that you've like? Oh, I've picked this. Do you have a favourite, or do you have a favourite story of one of your gems?
Not really.
No,
I don't think so.
Right. No. I've looked past and they sort of all tend to have a little bit of a story with them anyway. Like everyone's come from a different place. Or...
Well, probably the strangest story. There's a piece of gypsum. It's not valuable or anything like that as it is now.
That's a good start.
It's that big rock up in the top corner.
Oh, the massive.
When I found that, it was big as this table. And alongside it there's a bottle, and there's a twig. A twig was in the neck of the bottle, and the crystals have gone and formed on the twig. Okay. So what you've got a twig in a bottle that you couldn't possibly put in the bottle. You know what I mean? I'll show you.
Oh yeah, I get what you mean. Because it's grown in there, you can't pull it out.
No, you can't pull it out.
Yeah. No. So the crystals have grown on the twig.
The mate and I was with me. We got this here, and we cut this into 4. To bring it home, see. And when we got home, we was telling this bloke at the swap meet, and he said, "You crazy bastards!" He said that would have been worth thousands of dollars
if you kept it all as one big.
Yeah.
Cut it into 4 like it. It's just like why?
We get that axe out and cut it into 4. Put it. You get 12. 4. You have one. You have one. Other one.
Yeah. So that was even for your quarter of the 4. That's still only a part of your quarter.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's like you had a little bit. Plus the rest.
Yeah.
What happened to the rest of it?
Oh, over time, I probably shipped a bit off and give it to people, or swap meetings, or stuff like that. You know, I didn't.
So you've just found something the size of the table.
Yeah.
And it's what? It'd be like an 8-seater table. Yeah.
You want to finish with this?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. That's all sweet. Oh, nice. Beautiful. Well, I'll stop that one there.